Hi Booktube, it's Aaron here, and I'm back behind the screen because we've got another Poetry Thursday, and we're in the last Thursday of October, which, I mean, on Booktube, one of the big reading events in October is Victober, where we read Victorian literature, and what I thought I'd do as a nice little, almost like a little fireworks demonstration to finish off Victober is I will just read three poems, each by a great Victorian poet. I thought we'd start off with Christina Rossetti. I'm going to read a poem. Let's have a look here. I'm going to read a poem called Uphill. This one will go out to Steve Donoghue. I think this is one of his favourite Christina Rossetti poems. So this is Uphill by Christina Rossetti. Does the road wind uphill all the way? Yes, to the very end. Will the day's journey take the whole long day? From morn to night, my friend. But is there for the night a resting place? A roof for when the slow dark hours begin? May not the darkness hide it from my face? You cannot miss that inn. Shall I meet other wayfarers at night? Those who have gone before? Then must I knock or call when just in sight? They will not keep you standing at the door. Shall I find comfort, travel sore and weak? Of labour you shall find the sum. Will there be beds for me and all who seek? Yea, and beds for all who come. So yeah, just a lovely little poem. Being Victorian, it's kind of got that somewhat cozy and sentimental sort of feeling over the whole thing. But as you can probably tell, it's a poem about death, and I think particularly about heaven. I think that the inn, the resting place, is heaven, is the eternal rest that the traveller might find. So that's Uphill, which is just a lovely little poem by Christina Rossetti. Then moving on, I spent a good chunk of time early in the month going through this book of Gerard Manley Hopkins' early poems, not early poems, his poems and prose. And I thought I'd read one poem that I quite like, maybe being biased since it's a poem set in Wales. And for anyone new, that's where I live, and it's where I've spent most of my life, so that's why I've got a bit of a bias. This is In the Valley of the Elwy. I remember a house where all were good to me, God knows, deserving no such thing. Comforting smell breathed at very entering, fetched fresh, as I suppose, off some sweet wood. That cordial air made those kind people a hood all over, as a bevy of eggs the mothering wing will, or mild nights the new morsels of spring. Why, it seemed of course, seemed of right it should. Lovely woods, waters, meadows, combes, vales, all the air things wear that build this world of Wales. Only the inmate does not correspond. God, lover of souls, swaying considerate scales, complete thy creature, dear, oh, where it fails. Bring mighty a master, bring a father and fond. So just a really lovely poem about, again, someone who's received some hospitality and is grateful for it, is in a really lovely part of the world, and he's loving the surroundings, and yet the inmate doesn't correspond. So everything around him is lovely and hospitable, and yet he feels like his own disposition doesn't quite match. And then the poem ends with a plea that God would complete him, would allow him to sort of shake off this low mood or whatever it is that is keeping him. And with Hopkins, with his sprung rhythm, with his very sort of Anglo-Saxon inspired use of meter and alliteration, it gives it this really lovely, I don't know, really lovely compressed sort of feeling as you're speaking it. I love these lines here. So that cordial air made those kind people a hood all over, as a bevy of eggs the mothering wing will, or mild nights the new morsels of spring. Yeah, I just love this this little moment here. So yeah, and again, all the air things wear, and it's sort of reading it with my eye. The first few times through, I was like, all the air things, or it took a while to sort of work out what he's doing. All the air things wear, and build this world of Wales. Just a lovely sort of rise and fall with his sort of use of not only the alliteration from where through to Wales, but also the sort of rise and fall of the vowel sounds that he's using in that line. So yeah, just really lovely. Yeah, I've really enjoyed going back to Gerard Manley Hopkins this Victober. And then to finish off, from my Norton Anthology of Poetry, I think I was just flicking through. I wanted to have 3 poets, and I was trying to work out who else I could include. And I could have got a smaller book off the shelf, really, because I have this poet in a much smaller book. But oh well, this is Elizabeth Barrett Browning. And I thought I'd read one of her sonnets from the Portuguese. So yeah, 2 out of 3 of these have been sonnets. So that's always good. So this is the first one, and I really love this one. So this is the first of Elizabeth Barrett Browning's sonnets from the Portuguese. I thought once how Theocritus had sung of the sweet years, the dear and wished for years, who each one in a gracious hand appears to bear a gift for mortals, old or young. And as I mused it in his antique tongue, I saw, in gradual vision through my tears, the sweet, sad years, the melancholy years, those of my own life, who by turns had flung a shadow across me. Straightway I was aware, so weeping, how a mystic shape did move behind me, and drew me backward by the hair, and a voice said in mastery, while I strove, guess now who holds thee. Death, I said, but there the silver answer rang, not death, but love. And so yeah, again, a kind of totting up of your life. I'm just having a quick look at the footnotes, particularly for there's one for drew me backwards by the hair. Seems to be an allusion to the Iliad. When Athena warns Achilles by pulling him by pulling his hair. And yeah, again, it's got that sort of interesting, somewhat sentimental sort of conflation of death and love. Yeah, death is kind of sentimentalized in a way, and it sort of makes sense that it's sort of there in a love poem, in some way. But anyway, not entirely sure how much more I have to really say about any of them. One thing that I always love with the sonnets from the Portuguese, being just the little quite sweet fact that it's not that these are sonnets translated from the Portuguese, but rather that the Portuguese was Robert Browning's nickname for Elizabeth Barrett Browning. And so when she's writing these love sonnets that are, primarily addressed to him, they're, sonnets for him from the Portuguese, from his loved one. Which is, yeah, I just always find really cute, and they've got a really wonderful, if somewhat tragic, love story. So anyway, I'll leave it there. Sorry for sort of, I feel like I mangled this one a little bit. Yeah, just that the print in this Norton anthology was a little more difficult than the other ones at this time of night. Let me know if you enjoy any of these poets, Elizabeth Barrett Browning or Gerard Manley Hopkins or Christina Rossetti. Let me know if there are any other poems of theirs that you would include in your own Miscellany that are worth reading. I need to get more Rossetti. This is all I have by her. There's might be a few other things in the Norton. But yeah, I need a more substantial collection of Christina Rossetti really at some point. But anyway, that's my Poetry Thursday. That's my little round off for Victober. I hope you had a good Victober. Hope you read some good stuff. And we'll see what November's like. But for now, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.